everybody. It's Selena with Fear Paranormal, actually, and you have joined us on Close to Death. It's been a couple of weeks since I've actually been live. I've been a little bit busy and enjoying some Phantom Fest action and a couple other deals. So tonight I have a guest that I've been trying to get a hold of to get on my show for quite some time. She is part of the Voodoo couple of New Orleans, and her name is Juju Voodoo. How are you tonight, Juju?
I am wonderful, my baby. How are you?
I am so good. I have heard so much about you from Mr. Randy Hardy and Kevin Betzer, and that they said that actually Randy was going to introduce us when I came down before, and we got so busy with the event that we never got around to it. So he said next time. So maybe next time I come down, we'll get to actually meet in person.
Well, that sounds wonderful.
So tell everybody a little bit about who Juju Voodoo is real quick.
All right. Juju Voodoo is a cultural ambassador for the city of New Orleans, along with my husband, Jimmy. We go along with the voodoo aspect, more of a Dr. John type of hoodoo, gree magic. We provide once-in-a-lifetime and only in New Orleans photo opportunities for tourists and locals alike. We are treated like Bourbon Street Royal when we're down there.
Wow. That sounds
it is. It is a wonderful feeling that the city has just embraced us, and I don't know, there's just, once you live in New Orleans, you're not fit to live anywhere else. I mean, it truly is something that gets in your blood.
Yeah, no pun intended, since there's so much voodoo and vampires and everything else in New Orleans.
Right.
Right. That we need to learn and educate ourselves about. And that's one of the reasons why I had you on, is because I've had the King and Queen of Vampires on and tried to educate people on what that's all about. And people are so scared of the Ouija board, so I had Robert Murch on to kind of ease people's minds about the Ouija board. And we haven't touched on voodoo, and I'm like, oh my God, I would love to get them on. And finally I got a response, and I was like, yes, I was so excited. Especially that you're an ambassador there. So tell us what exactly a cultural ambassador is.
I go around to festivals and charitable events and parties and, of course, Mardi Gras. And I represent the city of New Orleans in the very best light, always having a smile on our face. We're not the scary, unapproachable voodoo people. We're warm and we're welcoming, and we try to be funny. Jimmy's a lot more funnier than I am, but we embrace the culture of New Orleans, and we share it with people.
That's awesome, because when I was there, the couple of times that I've been, it was definitely different from where I live in Dallas. And it was kind of refreshing to see all the different types of people there. And I saw a lot of crazy things while I was there. But the one thing that I really wanted to see that I didn't get to see was an actual funeral procession. That has always, I watched Treme, and that is always like, I'm like, man, that would be so cool to have a funeral like that.
It is very somber on the way to the cemetery. Usually it's a horse-drawn carriage, and it's just very somber. But the trip home, the second line, now that's the party. That's when we're celebrating the deceased life.
Yes. That sounds so incredible. And I never knew that even existed till I watched Treme, and I was like, that is so awesome.
Yeah, I love Treme. I've actually been on a couple episodes just in the background, but I'm there.
Oh wow, that's cool, because I love that show. I don't know that it's coming back, but I really enjoyed it while it was on. It really touched on a lot of what did happen to New Orleans, and it's slowly bouncing back. But while I was there, it was hopping.
It is. It's a very resilient city. It's been through maybe not worse, but as equally terrifying and devastating. There's been other hurricanes. In the 1800s, the entire city burnt down. So it's definitely resilient, and so are the people.
Yeah, they have to be, right? I mean, and also, you know, when I was there, I could feel, and I've been told there's more spirits walking around than there are living, and you can feel that there. It's palpable, you know what I mean? You can definitely tell that there are spirits all the way around you. And
if you are sensitive in any manner to the spirit world, while you are in New Orleans, the hair will rise up on the back of your neck, and you will definitely have an awareness, a sharpness that you may not have in your mundane life.
Yeah, that's for sure, because we were at the Andrew Jackson, actually with Randy and Hart, Fortenberry, and Kevin and Chris, and we were all, you know, there for that event they did. And I actually, for the first time, I mean, I'm an empath, but I can't actually, like, physically feel spirits or actually see them, but I actually felt one sit next to me, a little boy, and I was like, oh, wow. Okay, that
oh my gosh, a little boy. All right. I spent a couple nights at the Andrew Jackson Inn, and I told my husband, and we had no idea what the history is. Everything there has history. Right. So, you know, there's 50 million stories. But I thought it was a courthouse. I didn't know anything other than that.
Right.
And I was telling my husband, there's a spirit of a small child facing the corner, hunched down in the corner, and he keeps looking back at me. And my husband was like, well, okay, honey, does he need anything? Is he asking you for anything? And I said, no, he's just looking at me. Right. Just so pitiful. Well, we did a little digging, and I guess it used to be a orphanage.
Right.
Yeah, and I didn't know that at the time. So when I learned that, it blew me away. And the little one didn't want anything from me, but he just looked so beat. I mean, I'm a mom. I just wanted to run up and throw my arms around him if it at all possible. And maybe he picked up on that love and the protection that a mother would offer.
Yeah, you know, and that's so funny that you say that, because it was actually me and 3 other women with Hart in the room, and I was telling the little kid, because the psychic lady that was in there, the lady that actually can see spirits, said there was a little boy in there, and I go, oh my God, you can come over and sit by me. I have a little boy at home, and you know, I think he connected to us, and he came out of the corner, because he was hiding in the corner as well. And he came in out of the corner, and he sat down next to us, and that's when I felt that little boy, and I was like, oh my God, how weird is this? I mean, I've had the spider web feel on my hand or my arm or, you know, my neck or something like that, but I've never had it to where I actually felt the freezing cold of a spirit sitting down next to me. And it was like he put his hand on my fingers, because my 2 fingers on my right hand that I had sitting on the ground got really freezing cold. So I don't know if he connects to that, but it was so sad, you know, because that breaks my heart, because, I'm a mom too. So little kids.
And being an empath, I would imagine that you would pick up on what he was feeling, that sense of heartbreak and desperation and, you know, utter rejection. You were probably picking up on all of that.
Yeah, it was emotional. I can tell you that. I walked away with tears in my eyes, because it did get me on a level. You know, that's not hard to say for an empath, because we cry at the drop of a hat. And, you know, but so what? You know, we show our feelings and we can't help it. But
that's a beautiful thing, actually. And tears are very powerful. And in voodoo, tears are, I mean, if you can capture the tears of the baby, I mean, that's powerful, powerful magic. That's so pure. Anyone's tears.
Well, you know,
raw emotion.
I was going to ask you exactly to tell us a little bit about ancestral magic. Can you tell us what that means?
Absolutely. My family is frontier people, and they would live on the edge of the settlement, and they wouldn't quite fit in because of their practices. And people would come in the dead of night seeking their advice, because you couldn't let the rest of the community know that you sought advice from the witches.
Right.
weren't allowed to go to the church or attend the church, and that just over the generations. At one point, my family lived in a cave, and this is going back generations ago. And it's just kind of morphed and changed and evolved. And really, so much of it has been lost. They weren't allowed to write anything down. It was all, and if it was written down, it was destroyed once it was discovered. So we get a lot of this oral history from the family. So that's what that is. I'm the seventh generation to practice.
Wow.
And no one else in the family practices. And I mean no one. They're just fearful of it because of what has happened to the family from the community. I mean, it's utter devastation.
Wow.
So I'm the last one to practice the ancestral magic. But I do have a daughter, and she has a daughter. So that would be the 8th and 9th generation, and they both practice. They're not into my granddaughter will be a year-old in December. So needless to say, the black cat loves her. It's the strangest thing. He's right by her. But my daughter's kind of tiptoed in the water a little bit. She really does. How daughters think. She thinks her mother's a kook.
Yeah. Well, while me and my mom were in my teenage years or whatever, I always thought my mom didn't know what she was talking about. And now that you get older and you have a kid of your own, you're going, damn, maybe she knew what the hell she was talking about.
Exactly.
She makes it right on the phone. Dang, it's such a...
I can't believe I can't Skype with you. We have got to get this worked out. I got all dressed up. I'm sitting here in Juju Voodoo costume. I so wish we could have got that worked out. Maybe next time.
Yes, because I'm definitely going to have you back on. I was looking at your bio and stuff, and I was also told by Randy, she's a voodoo priestess and all this stuff. How exactly do you become? I mean, is it ancestral? Is it passed down to you that you become a priestess, or do you do certain things?
That is new. Usually voodoo and witches hate each other. They have and you would think they would be more accepting because their own religion has been so, just chastised and ostracized, but they hate each other. So I was called by the voodoo spirit. I had to do something. I had to connect to these voodoo spirits. It was overwhelming. It was all I could do, eat, sleep, and think were these spirits. So I contacted a voodoo mambo. I told her what had been happening to me in the visions that I had been seeing and the dreams I had been having. And she said, honey, you've been chosen. So we worked out the particulars and made sure that it was real, that it wasn't, anything flighty or maybe just a message that needed to get across. And I actually went for a week in a secret Kanzo ceremony where I became baptized voodoo priestess. I was baptized in a lake.
I was going to ask you how they do that. I mean, I knew it had to be similar, but not so similar to most religions, and that's cleansing with holy water or some sort of water.
Right.
Because empaths, even, when we're trying to ground ourselves or trying to cleanse ourselves from whatever negative comes around, water is the balm.
Yes.
I will stay in a hot
the element, everything. Yes, the element of life.
Clears it out. Yep, it's awesome. So I understand. I was wanting to ask you that, so I'm glad you answered that question. So what is, when Randy and I were talking about Juju Voodoo, he goes, she goes the voodoo, the hoodoo, the whatever you do. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, I need to know the difference between voodoo and hoodoo. So can you clarify that?
Absolutely. Voodoo is the religion, the actual practice.
Okay.
Much like if you said you were Catholic, there's many different ways of practicing Catholicism, but that would be your religion. So a voodooist is practicing that religion. A hoodooist with an H, you can incorporate that in anything, in your day-to-day life. You don't even have to practice any sort of voodoo or witchcraft. Maybe you have an amulet to protect you, or maybe you've got gree-gree bag pinned on your clothes, or something for good luck. That's hoodoo. Hoodoo is the fetishes and the voodoo dolls, and it's a way of incorporating voodoo into your magic without actually practicing the religion aspect of it.
Ah, okay. So, like a friend gave me a medicine bag. Would that be kind of a hoodoo thing?
That's hoodoo.
Protects me from bad spirits and negative. Okay, that's cool.
Absolutely. Now, what would separate that is that the friend that gave it to you was a voodoo priest or priestess or mambo, and then that would become voodoo. It's a voodoo bag.
Just a total empath, and I'm actually a little bit of a sensitive, but no voodoo priest there. He actually, we were joking around and doing a radio show one night. It's John Emmett actually, and he's on PSL right before this show, and he actually had a green tablecloth on his head and was saying that he was Off-White the Gypsy King. So that's who gave me my medicine bag. He's a mess.
I sent Hart a whole bunch of gree-gree, because I had given him some gree-gree and some voodoo fetishes before, and I don't know if they're cleaning his apartment or whatever, but they got lost, and he sent me a Facebook message just like, "Oh, Lord, Miss Juju, I need me some gree-gree." So I sent him some, and he sent me a couple of T-shirts with his face on it. I told my husband.
That was a total great trade, wasn't it?
It was. I told my husband, because it's now my pajama top, I sleep with Hart.
Oh, no. That's scary. He's so funny, man. That man right there is so crazy. I had such a good time singing with him. But, when we were there at the Andrew Jackson, Bloody Mary showed up. And she did, and me not being educated on voodoo, that's why I had you on, she was blessing his gree-gree stick. And I'm like, okay, first off, I need to understand what a gree-gree stick is first, because he carries it everywhere. And I used to love when he would go to places and go, "Come to the bell," and all that stuff. And
come to the bell. Right.
But what
well, the bell provides a vibration.
Okay.
And that's basically what we all are. We all vibrate at a different frequency. Right. So if a spirit feels that vibration, they are more likely to show up. You know what I mean? They are more likely to come to the bell. As far as the gree-gree stick, that's old school Bayou magic. That's what that is. That's usually a root that's been dug up, or a part of a tree, and it's been blessed. It's been consecrated. It has herbs on it. It has some bones on it. The bones connect us to our ancestors. So it's a very powerful protector of the person who carries it.
Well, man, he's got that sucker hooked up, because Bloody Mary blessed that sucker with bourbon or rum or something. She was hooking up that sucker big time. And I was like, then she had us saying a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, should I repeat this stuff or what? And Randy goes, "It's all good, man. Don't worry about it." And I'm like, okay. So
Randy's a doll.
I know, he is great. He's actually he took his daughter to Disney World.
I know. Don't they look identical? That is like, oh my God, you took that child out. That mama didn't have nothing to do with that baby.
No. You know what? And that's okay, because Daddy got this. You know what I'm saying? I do.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Voodoo fetishes. What is a voodoo fetish? Because it almost sounds a little sexual to me, just saying.
Ow! Oh. I guess it could be.
Okay.
Depends on what its purpose is. It is an object or doll or chicken foot or something that you've charged and put intent in. And that intent can be sexual if that's what the end result is. So, like hot peppers, The voodoo Loa that I pay homage to when I am in costume is my mom Brigitte. So she is all sexual and vivacious and flirtatious. So definitely, and legend has it that to prove when people would say they were possessed by her, to prove if they were actually possessed, they would rub hot peppers on their genitalia.
Yeah,
and if you were possessed, then you wouldn't think anything at all about it. But if you wasn't, that's a really good way to find out, isn't it?
Wow.
With no hot crotch.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's a whole another definition for fire crotch right there. That's
I know. But the chili pepper is the cayenne pepper, or any kind of big red pepper is associated with my mom Brigitte. So that's all sexual. That's a fetish. And we wear fetishes all over our jackets. And we've got little voodoo dolls and chicken feet. We've got crossbones. And it protects us because that's what we charge them to do.
Ah, that's interesting, because I was wondering what all that stuff was hanging. I mean, he's got a chicken foot hanging off of there, and he's got another kind of, like, I don't even know if it's a beaver head or, no, that's my friend's Gree stick. She got one, and we couldn't tell what the heck that was. It's some kind of rodent she had on there, and even Bloody Mary goes, girl, I don't even know what that is, but, you know, that doesn't look like a regular, like, rodent head, you know. He has an alligator on his. That's what he's got on his.
Yeah.
But, you know, he had that sucker hooked up, and I just didn't understand what all that was, you know, was doing that.
Right. It's just a form of protection. There are some, voodoo is all about balance. In witchcraft, I have been taught that I harm none. Do what thou will, but harm none. In voodoo, it's a whole nother ball game. I may can I cuss? I'm wondering if I can cuss. Can I cuss?
Yeah.
Okay. I may do something to a motherfucker. They do me the wrong way. You heard me?
Yeah.
I definitely would.
I hear that.
And that's the balance. That's the balance in voodoo. I mean, if it's all about what I'm willing to feed my Loa, what I give my Loa, because I write a petition for them and I ask them for favors. If these favors are granted, then I give them whatever it is that I promised. And sometimes, if I want to hurt somebody, then some little critter's gonna suffer on my altar, so that I can hurt that person. And I've never seen it fail. I have never seen it fail.
Wow, that's crazy, because, you know,
it's powerful.
It is powerful. We were going to go to an actual a voodoo ceremony or something while we were there. We didn't get over there because some things happened, of course, and then it just was too late for us to go. But I was like, should I or should I not? We do have a question in the chat room real quick that says, how does voodoo help or enhance your tarot reading?
It gives me a stronger connection to the ancestors. It definitely, when you begin any kind of divination in voodoo, you go through Papa Legba, who is the gatekeeper. He opens the gate. And it's just so much stronger than anything I personally have ever felt. And I've been practicing magic for more years than I'm going to admit right now. But definitely it enhances it. It's a stronger connection. Spirit comes through. You know, it's sort of, okay, I'm going to give away my age. Remember them old TVs? You would have to kind of turn the channel a little bit and monkey with those rabbit ears.
Oh, yeah.
Well, voodoo kind of clarifies. It just brings it, I mean, it brings it to HD TV, whereas before it may have been a little foggy.
Yeah, okay, I was exactly fixing to say it brings it to the technological age of HD then.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, it is so crystal clear. I've done so many readings where a spirit will be right behind the person. And, you know, when you read for the public, you're never quite sure what you can say and what you can't say, because I don't want to scare them.
Right.
And
get them running out.
Yes, exactly. And a memorable reading that I had was a young lady came to me and she was having trouble, financial trouble in her life, but the spirit that was behind her was just lamenting and waving in a language that I had never, I couldn't understand her. It was just all garbled, and it was, I thought I recognized it, but it was garbled, and I described a, told the young lady that I don't mean to scare you, but their spirit is coming through, and she has a little blue house coat on, and pink house slippers, and she's speaking to me in what may be Spanish, but she's yelling at me. She wants you to know something is okay. She's showing me the okay sign. And the young lady said, that's my grandmother. She's Puerto Rican. She never did learn a word of English, not one. And I've been praying to see if she's okay.
Oh, wow.
The grandmother wanted that granddaughter to know, I'm okay.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was a friend of mine that her name's Teal, and we were at Phantom Fest, and we were actually broadcasting live, and she does readings too. And I walked up a couple of times, and she had a grown woman bawling, and then she had a grown man crying. And I was like, girl, what are you doing? She goes, wow, I'm just giving them the messages, and I'm like,
right.
Must be because these people are like touched,
My husband calls me the harbinger of doom. He says you make them cry. That's not the intent. I don't want to make people cry, but it's such a personal thing. When you've experienced a loss and you go and walk your everyday life, but still in the back of your mind, your heart is just weeping so heavily for this person. And then you get a message from this person. Yeah. It's quite earth-shattering. It's quite emotional.
Yeah, it happened to me because, that's the whole reason I got into the paranormal is after I lost my mom. That was it's almost 11 years ago coming up in March, but it was so hard, and I never would get any type of message or her in my dreams or see her, and I'm like, what is going on? Why? Is she not coming to me? So I'm friends with Chip Coffey and I'm friends with Dakota Lawrence, but I don't ask my friends to read me or do any of that. It just kind of gets weird. So I asked another friend of mine who really we were more acquaintances at the time, so she didn't know anything. And it took a little bit for her to get in contact with my mom, but when she did, it was earth moving. And it was 10 years that I had been waiting for anything. And, it was very emotional, and but it helped me so much. Even though you make that person cry, and you can relate this to Jimmy, even though you're making that person cry, you are helping that person so very much, giving them that message that they've long awaited for. And it's such a relief and a blessing, and I think it's awesome, what you have and what you can do. And for me personally, that is a very emotional and very personal, like you said, message that you're given. And so you never know how people are going to react. I mean, Chip's told me before that my mom said, tell my baby I love her, and then she was gone. It was like he said a drive-by say hi type thing. And I'm like, okay, well, and I kept my composure pretty well until I went to my own room, and then I lost my crap. But, that was the only message I had from her.
Yes.
And, when I was told why, it totally made sense to me. And I was like, oh, man, okay, that feels much better than thinking that I've done something wrong, that my mom doesn't want to come talk to me. So I was like thinking, oh, my God, what have I done? And, of course, she's because best friend.
Happy on the other side. She's moved onto the other side. Yeah.
That's exactly what was told to me, that she's sorry for the delay, but every time she comes back to this life, it reminds her of the painful cage her body once was. And she had lupus and suffered since she was 21 years old. So, I felt that was like, wow, that completely makes sense. It wasn't like she didn't want to, but it just reminds her of that pain. And,
right.
and I was like, okay, well, that sounds a lot better than my mom just didn't want to talk to me. Or, you know what I mean? I feel much better about it.
I do. But some of the messages aren't clear that we receive. I did a reading for an older lady, and the spirit kept saying crosswords, crosswords, crosswords. And I'm like, what do I say? Did they like crossword puzzles? I didn't know what to say. And so, I'm doing the reading, and the spirit is just got to tell her crosswords. And so I told her that there was a young spirit, probably her son. It was definitely a male energy. And he keeps repeating crosswords to me, the word crosswords, and that he's so sorry and that he didn't want you to find him. And I have no idea what that is. That's just a message. And she said that he was a heroin user, an overdose. And they had crosswords 2 days before. So, yeah. So sometimes the message is not, because I have no insight. I can't make that connection into their life. Right. All I get is these messages. So it's probably the same thing, when your mom went by and she just wanted you to know, I love you, but I'm okay.
Right.
And I won't be back. Well, that was the message that had to be relayed.
Right.
We can't lengthen it or shorten it. Sometimes it just is what it is.
Yeah, it's so funny because it was like the first week that I actually met Chip, and we were filming a documentary in Missouri, and we had been filming for 14, 15 hours that day. We were exhausted, and we were standing outside the hotel fixing to go in, and we were saying, hey, good night, see you in the morning, whatever. And he just kind of got this weird look on his face behind me and goes, what the hell was that? And I'm like, I look behind me and I'm like, I don't know. You're the dude that can see shit. So tell me.
You're the psychic. You tell me.
And so he said, you're a mess, girl. And then he said it was, tell my baby I love her. And she had long black hair and brown eyes. And I just stood there and stared at him because he had no idea. And I went, oh my God. And he goes, it was your mom. And I go, wow. Because we were sitting there talking about a wreck that I had and almost died in. And and then boom, she like shows up and then she's gone. And I'm like, oh wow, that was the first thing I ever got. And after that, I just, Chip and I are really good friends, but I've never asked him for anything.
Right.
Or anything.
I don't like to read from my friends.
Yeah.
They don't know what part of it is me just knowing their business and giving them advice. And, as opposed to a stranger, if I knew those details, that would be pretty impressive. So, I don't like to read from my friends. As a matter of fact, I won't read from my family anymore, period. I did that a couple of years ago, told my aunt my uncle wouldn't see the winter. Guess what? He didn't. It was awful.
Yeah.
She was like, well, you should have said you were serious. Hello, it's pretty serious.
Oh, shoot. So, another thing that I'm really interested in, and I've always joked around about it because I think that I was another race when I was in my past life. Can you tell us a little bit about past life regressions and how that comes to? How do you figure that out, or who tells you what somebody was?
Again, it's the connection to the spirit world.
Okay.
You've got tons of spirits with you. You're connected to much more than just your mom. You've got a line of ancestors that goes way back. If I can tune into that, I can see the direction that your past life had taken. There's some clues in this life. My husband cannot stand to wear a tie. He can't stand anything on his hands. Anything. I know for a fact he was a scallywag in a past life. He was probably hung and cuffed, hung by the neck, that is.
Oh.
and I just, you pick up these clues from things that make them uncomfortable. That's someone that I know well. Someone I don't know well, I can look at their mannerisms. There's just little idiosyncrasies that you can just pick up about people, just clues that scream what they were.
Oh, wow, that's crazy, because there was a couple of times that I've had, my whole entire life, actually, I've had, visions of being places that I know I've never been, and a connection to John F. Kennedy for some reason. I don't know what that's all about, but I've always been extremely fascinated by him. And I wasn't born until 1968, okay? So he was gone before I got here. But in that era, I always used to joke and say I was a pissed off black woman. Because I used to have a basketball team that they had given me what they said a black girl name of Shambisha. That was my honorary sister name. So I don't know. I've always been, I love the blues and I love, certain kinds of stuff that I've never had in my lifetime. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So you can already identify that your soul is from the deep south. You resonate there. There are elements about it that these clues have already been given to you. And you can meditate on it. There's just a case where a little boy, I think he was 3 or 4 years old, kept telling his parents, "I was killed in a past life."
Oh, yeah.
And that's
that story.
Yes, that's huge for a little kid to say. Yeah. And then he, finally convinced the parents to take him to the police. He gave the police his former name. Sure enough, there was a man that was killed by that name.
Yeah.
And then led them to the grave where his body was.
Oh, wow.
So, yes, there are clues that scream to us. Children are more open to it. We build up this logic, this rationale that kind of squashes it. But we're all given clues. I mean, energy cannot be created or destroyed. It just changes form.
Oh, wow. And it was, when I was a child, the stuff started when I was little, like with my great-grandmother. I have a lot of Native American Indian in my blood. A lot of Blackfoot, a lot of Cherokee, and on my dad's side, it's Irish. And so I have a lot of people that, in my ancestral heritage, that believe in spirits thoroughly.
Absolutely.
And my great-grandmother had abilities, and my mom had the ability to, I wouldn't try it. I've done this before, but I wouldn't try it. My mom would walk up to people, and I mean, not people she didn't know, but like her friends, and go, "You're pregnant, you're going to have a little boy." And they'd be like,
that people at work, they freak out.
They're like,
I just did that to a gentleman.
And then they call her and go, "Oh my God, I'm pregnant and I'm going to have a boy." And she's like, "I know."
And I hope this person is listening. I'm not going to say his name, but he knows who he is. We were working together, and I said, "Hey, congratulations." And he's like, "Congratulations on what?" I said, "On the pregnancy." He's like, "She better not be pregnant. I'd be fucking pissed." Well, a couple weeks later, he comes back and he goes, "How'd you know that?" I'm like, "Hello? What do I do?" I'm like, "Yep, she's pregnant."
Oh, I told my sister she was pregnant. Actually, she came back for a visit after she had left and went up to Virginia, and she came back for a visit, and I'm like, "Girl, your boobs are like 5 times the size they normally are. You are pregnant." And she goes, "No, I'm not." And I said, "I guarantee you are." And she goes back and she goes, "Whatever." And I'm like, "I'm serious. I've never seen your chest that big in my whole life." And she said, "Whatever." And I said, "It's going to be a boy." And she calls me and she goes, "Oh my God, I'm freaking pregnant." And I go, "What is it?" And she goes, "Well, I don't find that out just yet. I have to wait a couple weeks." She calls me a couple weeks later. She goes, "It's a freaking boy." I go, "Yeah, I told you." And she goes, "Okay, I want to know how you knew that." And I go, "I don't know how I knew that. I just felt it. And your boobs. That's the only 2 things I could give you a clue on how I knew." And she goes, "Okay, well, that's awesome." And now he's actually going to be a dad, this child we're talking about. So, yeah, it's pretty awesome. What do you have coming up as far as where can people see you in New Orleans? Are you just all over the place, or do you have certain places?
No, ma'am. We are all over the place, all over the map. And it's kind of a hit and miss because, we can't stay too long at this event because we got to go make that event. They can always reach us on our Facebook page, on our web page. Is it okay if I give the web page?
Oh, definitely. Please do. I want everybody to find you guys.
It is New Orleans Voodoo Couple.webs.com.
That's cool. I can't wait to come back. I know that Chris Melanson, who owns NOLA Ghost Hunting Tours, who's also a friend of Randy and Kevin and all them, he's having something going on that he hasn't yet released details to for January. So I'm hoping that if I can swing it, I can come back to NOLA in January.
You know what February is.
I know.
Come on now. It's Mardi Gras.
I know. I don't know what date it is, but I know that if it's
I think it's the 17th this year. It's
Ah.
early. Yeah, it's early.
I may have to swing by on the way back from Alabama. I'll be at Sloth Furnace over the Valentine's
There you
weekend. May have to do that.
There
I've
you
never
go.
been to a Mardi
Yeah,
Gras.
the Halloween is crazy in New Orleans too. Absolutely. It rivals Mardi Gras for the amount of people in costume. It's crazy. It's a lot of fun.
My vampire friends are actually going to be there Halloween. It's called, what is their little event called? Something to do with bad things, like they're bad girls or whatever.
Oh dear, I don't know.
They're really interesting, let me tell you. I'm actually going to a vampire ball October 25th with these guys. And, my mother must have kept me so sheltered because in the paranormal, I have learned so much about different things that I had no idea even existed. One being vampires.
I just saw your things.
Oh, you like those? Now,
those are gorgeous.
This guy makes this stuff he was at Phantom Fest. He makes them right there, and it takes him about 45 minutes, and they just clip onto your teeth.
Wow, they look
and they're
perfect.
amazing. They look real.
Yeah.
They look real.
I was looking at them, and I thought, she has, like, porcelain things put on.
Yeah, they're sharp, too. Somebody said, did you bite anybody with them? I said, no, but I'm capable of it because they are sharp. So
only myself.
Right. So I just wanted to educate my audience tonight on everything that is voodoo and what you're all about, because I just think it's fascinating. I've never seen so much culture in one city. And I love New Orleans. I can't wait to come back. There's always something else that I didn't get to see the last time I was there.
Right.
So I can't wait to come back, and I so appreciate you being on my show tonight. And
absolutely, anytime.
We'll have you back because I want a video.
Well, listen, I am all dolled up here. I wish we could have got it to work.
I know. You know what? Take some photos, and I will put them on my Facebook page.
Oh, I did.
All right. So, well, thank you so much, Juju. I appreciate it. And tell Jimmy I'd like to see his face sometime, too, and hopefully I'll meet you guys in January.
All right, darling. Pleasure talking to you.
All right. See you later. Have a good one.
All right. Blessings.
Bye-bye. All right, everybody. I hope you got a little education on the voodoo that Juju Voodoo is and all that she is about. She is extremely interesting, and we will have her back on because she did deck out tonight for the show, and it's a shame that we couldn't get the video to work, but that's okay. Skype does that to us sometimes. I wanted to let y'all know about a couple of events real quick. Next weekend, which is October 18th, the Beckham Spirit Fest, which is in Mineola, Texas. It is the first of its kind at the Beckham Hotel, and it is going to be from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. If you look, he is showing the flyer right now. It's also up on Fear Paranormal Society's Facebook page, and it is all over my personal Facebook page as well as Close to Death. It will be posted on there. Also, we have, as November 1st, is going to be History, Haunts, and Legends in Jefferson, Texas, and we are going to have a blast. Jeremy Jones will be there, and Olivia Hallmark, and I cannot remember her last name right off the bat, but she is an amazing lady, so you got to come see everybody who's speaking, and, of course, awesome Eric and Kim. I can't wait to see you guys. And after that, I will be going to the Stanley Hotel for a Lost Limbs Foundation fundraiser where Chip Coffey and Ben Hansen is going to be. I cannot wait for that event. I want to thank my sponsors, Syntex Roof Systems in Waco. My brother Tony down there, he will hook you guys up. He does buildings now. He builds all kinds of stuff, remodels, and, of course, does roofs. So give him a call if you need anything. And my other sponsor is Galena's Murder Bordello. I want to thank them for sponsoring my show and for always being there for me since the documentary. Those guys are so cool. Just shout out to them. And if you want to find out anything about Fear Paranormal, you can look on our website. It's fearparanormal.wix.com/fear-1 is our updated website, and you can always find us on Facebook. Next week, I have Robin Marie, psychic, and we're going to be talking about numerology, so have your questions ready for her. All right, everybody have a great week. Thanks a lot. Peace out.